I mean, the Maisa say, in today's world, I think it's very important for a Bacher to know that his shaykhs, I mean, maybe it's more because of my background, he has to really appreciate that he really has a pnimizdika shaykhs with the Rebbe. It's very important, like a Bacher should understand. A Bacher in the Yuds didn't have to impress upon himself that he had a shaykhs with the Rebbe. The Rebbe was there for him. The Rebbe was there. He was Raskin didn't have to think that the Rebbe knows who he is and the Rebbe is caring about him, etc., etc. Not Shimon Kalazarov, and not Rabbi Yael, and not Chvezver. All these people were there. And Al Derech Shlomo Zarki, which was later. But as it went in the Lamids, so then there could be a Metzias of a Bacher that wasn't really sure whether the Rebbe knows who he is. There could be a Metzias of a Bacher that wasn't really sure if the Rebbe knows who he is. And certainly the Mems. And then, now there's now. So a Bacher has to understand this concept, this understanding, he has to really impress upon himself. It's just like, the Eberster is Miyached Malchusi Alam Yisrael Bechlal V'Olav Bifrat Ki Chayev Adam Leimer B'Shvili Nivra Elam. So a person has to know that there is a personal relationship between him and the Eberster. It's not like the Eberster is looking at him as just a number. This Kilo V'Olav Bifrat Ki Chayev Adam Leimer B'Shvili Nivra Elam. So Al Derech Zeh Tzadikim Deimum Lebeiram, there's a musig that there is a relationship between every Bacher and every Chassid and every Yid with the Rebbe, and that's and something which is true. It's not something which is murgish. It's not something which you feel regularly, naturally. It's something which you have to work on to understand that that's the truth. And a person has to realize that the truth doesn't depend on our irrigation. Because we have to realize that there's a truth which is not totally in our irrigation. And we could try to be margish this truth. We could try to develop a certain, a feeling of bringing this truth closer to ourselves. But that doesn't mean that the truth is dependent. It's not contingent on the way we feel. And that's something which we always have to talk about. You have to talk about this idea that this every bacher and every person is very, very dear and very personal connection to the Rebbe. And you can make a Kal V'chemer, maybe a Kal V'chemer. If the Rebbe spoke so much in the Hei Tevis about the Sefer, which is connected to the Rebbe, a Sefer which is connected to the Rebbe, that is part of the Rebbe, so how much L'chura more so, a Bacher or a Yid, that's the Rebbe's a Yid, how much he's part of the Rebbe. If a Sefer is part of the Rebbe, so a Bacher is the Chnishdava Seredin is part of the Rebbe. And he has to understand that. And then he has to understand that he has keches and he has the ability to be able to bring that out elapel, mikech elapel. And the idea is that a person, the Rebbe gives us, the Rebbe, the idea of the Rebbe wants to be, we and the Rebbe are not two things. It's not pshat that there's a Rebbe and there's us. And Memele, wie steht the Lashon? I remember Rabbi Yael saying over from some sefer that there's a question if you're allowed to ask malachim to beseech upon you, malachi rachmim, rachmim. So what about Benegay asking a Rebbe? So the answer is, when you're going to a Rebbe, you're not going to someone else. So the dogma is, he says, you have a problem with your foot. So your head is asking for your foot. Why is your head asking for your foot? The foot, let the foot is the problem. Well, the answer is because the head and the foot are one thing. Unverkehrt. If there's a problem with the foot, is the problem with in the head. The head feels the problem with the foot. So a person understands that his relationship to the Rebbe, and he has to it's not something which is, what I'm saying right now is not something I'm saying because I have a hergish. We have to realize the truth. You have to realize the truth. That is the truth the way it says in Torah, the way the truth the way it says in Tanya, the way it says in Chassidus. And then we have to bring that truth into ourselves, to think about the truth and internalize the truth, and to understand that that's our truth. Whether we feel the truth, we don't feel the truth, we have to try to become closer to that truth. And I think that's what we have to bring about. Of course, we have to bring about doing the right things and knowing what's expected of us. We have to bring about that as well. I mean, everybody in his inyan, going, doing the things that are expected of him. But there's a certain general idea which is something which l'chure should also be discussed.